What's up, my Net Soldiers? I am the Net Alliance, and today I got a video where I'm going to be doing 10 predictions about Rogue One. Now, this video is actually inspired by Hello Greedo's one recent video he did just the other day, I think. So I recommend you go check it out, link in the description below. And in his list, he went down 10 different things he thinks gonna happen in Rogue One. Now, there are some things in his list that I did agree with, but there are some things I didn't. So I was like, I'm gonna make my own list and then we'll see how people feel about it. And then when this actual movie comes out, we'll see if I was right. Now, bear in mind, this is just a predictions list of what's gonna happen, not exactly what I wanna see happen. Don't get me wrong, some of the things on this list I do wanna see, but everything on this list is pretty much what I think is actually gonna happen. So without further ado, let's start with number 10. At number 10, I have Jyn's crystal will have some type of significance in the story. Now, I heard Greedo's idea on this, and I do kind of agree with it, but I also don't know if I am truly on board with that. I don't personally think it is a Kyber crystal or a crystal that's completely needed by the Empire. I think the Kyber crystal will come in handy for Jyn later in the actual movie. Like maybe she gets shot at and it deflects things or something, who knows, like we'll deflect right off her chest, or I don't know how things work. It's Star Wars, so anything can really happen. So that will be interesting, but I don't think it's gonna be something that's really that big to the plot. Like I don't believe the Empire is actually looking for that direct crystal, but the crystal will have some type of significance at some point in the story. And at number 9, I have all the Rogue One people will die except for one. Now, as I go down on this list and I get further towards the end of the film, I'll kind of elaborate on why some people will die and how some people will die. And in the end, I don't exactly know which one is going to survive and if they're going to get off like unscathed, or if they're going to be missing an arm, get it cut off or something like that. Maybe they even get shot, but some way I think there's going to be one more who's going to survive out of the rest of this crew that's actually going to die. At number 8, I chose Jyn's father Galen will be killed by Krennic, and I think she'll see it happen. I think that's when Jyn will kind of change it from a rescuing her father mission to actually trying to take down the Empire. I think there's more to it than she's just trying to steal the plans. I think originally she goes to save her father, but her father dies, and then it kind of turns into a retribution film where now she wants to take down Krennic, and along with Krennic, also the Death Star. But of course, I have no idea, but I do think that would be interesting to kind of add that in. At number 7, I think the droid is going to sacrifice himself and save Jyn at some point. I just feel like that's his character. From the trailers, he seems to be more of a comedic relief, but he seems to be a very loyal droid. So I do think at some point he'll sacrifice himself to save Jyn. Overall, I think a lot of the deaths that's going to happen to our main cast of characters are all going to be sacrifices. Now, not all, but most are going to be that way. For number 6, I have the male lead, Cassian, is going to end up being friendly with Jyn, if you know what I mean. From the trailers, we see them kind of talking to each other, plus like the rest of the Rogue One cast doesn't really seem like someone who would get with her. And I know a lot of people are tired of romances in the Star Wars films, but we're gonna see one. And it's probably gonna be these two characters, considering he is the male lead and she is the female lead and the main protagonist of the film. Now, I don't think they're actually gonna do it. They might kiss at some point, you know, near the end when they're about to die or something, who knows. But I could see a relationship forming throughout the film between the two characters. At number 5, this one's kind of really debated among the Star Wars community. I think we're gonna see Vader using his lightsaber. Now, I do think we're gonna see more of him using the Force abilities, and we might only see the lightsaber in one scene, but I honestly think you have to throw a lightsaber in there. I know for the fact the director did say that there's not gonna be any lightsaber fights, right? So we won't see any lightsaber fights, no duels, no Vader versus Obi-Wan or Vader versus Yoda, maybe, who knows. We won't see any of that. But although the director did say there would be no lightsaber fights, he didn't actually say there'd be no lightsabers. So I'd like to see Vader start kicking butt. Maybe he goes up against the rebels and just starts slicing them up. Who knows? That'd be pretty interesting to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd still be happy if Vader didn't use his lightsaber because, you know, Vader's awesome. But I'd still be extremely happy if he did. At number 4, I think Jyn will believe in the Force, but she won't actually be Force sensitive. Now, this comes from the most recent trailer when we think it's her mother who actually gives her the crystal, and she says, believe in the Force. And since the Force is kind of like religion, you don't have to be a Jedi, you don't have to be a Sith, you just gotta believe. So I think the Force will be more to Jyn than just a theory or just a crazy old religion. And I think it'll be Jyn's trust in the Force that will really help her out later in the film. At number 3, I think Jyn will get revenge on Krennic for killing her father. Now, of course, for this to actually happen, that means number 8 would actually have to happen too. But considering Krennic isn't seen in the 4th film, I'd be okay if they killed him, but they wouldn't have to. Maybe he'll show up as the villain in Star Wars Rogue 2, who knows? That's a joke, by the way. Now for number 2. I think the climax of the film will end with both Jyn and the male lead Cassian, who will both die together in the end. Of course, they'll both be making a noble sacrifice, allowing the one remaining survivor to turn in the Death Star blueprints. Now, this one's hard to say because a lot of people don't want to believe that these people are actually going to die, but I do think that they're all going to die except for one. Now, the reason everyone thinks they're actually going to die is because they're not in the 4th film, which I guess that kind of makes sense. But to me, the story of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, just has a bittersweet title to it. But with all these, that's just my opinion. At number 1, Snoke kills Vader in the end. Nah, I'm kidding. Gotcha. At number 1, the ending will be of the rebel leaders rejoicing over their win. Now, there will be some type of nod to the beginning of episode 4, but I do not think it will end how Greedo says, where the first film begins. I think the final celebration will be a bittersweet one, just like the title of Rogue One. I kind of feel like Rogue One is also hinting to the fact since they're Rogue One, there's only gonna be one survivor. You know how Star Wars like to do that type of stuff. Now, out of all the Rogue One crew, I don't know which one would actually survive, but I do believe at least one is going to survive, and I do not think it's going to be Jyn. But that is it for my Rogue One, the Star Wars story predictions. What do you think is gonna happen in Rogue One? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.